CEO of the National Community Action Partnership, and we are so excited to have you on the call or on the web meeting here today. What we want to do today is walk through an advocacy campaign that the partnership is looking to do over the next month. Just want to give a thank you right off the bat to CAP who helped us review some of the documents that we'll be talking about today, NCAF, certainly for their support and their efforts on the Hill, and all of the work we're doing is here to support and amplify David's work on the Hill. And a special thank you to SECA and the North Carolina Community Action Association and Sharon Goodson, who came to the partnership with the A Wise Investment campaign concept, idea, hashtag, and said, we want to help you do something. So again, thank you, Sharon, and the whole team at North Carolina for your assistance here today. So we are recording today's webinar, so we will be able to post an audio of this, as well as the slides. We also have up on our website now, posted under our news items, a copy of the CSBG support statement, the board resolution, and our little mini toolkit that we'll be talking about here today. So we will want you to put questions in the chat window as you have them, and we will pause periodically to see what questions have come in, so we can definitely answer your specific questions. And please feel free to always email me. I'm not often at my desk, like right now, so please email me at dharlow@communityactionpartnership.com, and we will also work to get you information. So, and thank you to the state associations also who were on with us a call last week and helped us plan some of the strategies here today. So I think, as we all know, and many of you were on David's webinar this week, and I know we had one last week, and even the week before that, David has been very busy and very good about sharing his thoughts and comments on the budget. I know many of you subscribe to CapFacts, and I hope everybody subscribes to CapFacts as an organization. That's a great way to support NCAF and get the most up-to-date information. But when we talk with agencies in the field, and I know around our table here at the partnership, the current environment is a struggle sometimes. It seems another year where we're having to fight to make sure that CSBG, weatherization, LIHEAP, housing, CDBG, all sorts of programs that we care about are zeroed out. And we're having to fight to have those added back in. Now, we have every confidence that Congress understands the value that you do at the local level, that key factor of House seats across the country, and that community action serves 99% of America's counties are critical. But we can't negate what a struggle right now it is, I think, for our leadership, our board members, our staff in this environment. So we hope this advocacy campaign takes that frustration, that anxiety, and focuses it towards something really positive. And we know that advocacy and policy work is something that's very meaningful to many people in community action, and people want to have a voice. So we're hoping to do something over these next 4 to 6 weeks that really is an easy way for people to get engaged. So when David needs us to do something a little bit tougher, our network kind of has built up his advocacy muscle a little bit. Next slide. So we really want the agencies and the associations and the state offices, we would love to have everyone get engaged. A lot of folks aren't really sure how to get engaged. Where do I start? How do I do this? You may likely have, and we hope you do have, a relationship with your House member, your state House member, your local mayors, your local elected officials, and as local agencies, a third of your board are elected officials. Some of those folks sit on your board, or their staff sit on your board. So we know there's relationships there, but how do we help agencies really get engaged on CSBG? How do we help David? How do we make sure our work is in line with and supportive of NCAF's work? And what can we do as a network to be ready and prime our pumps and build up our advocacy muscle so when NCAF needs us, we're ready to roll? Next slide. So you may recall David last year put out an advocacy toolkit, which I found incredibly helpful in terms of ideas and concepts. Let's go, did we skip one? Yeah, this one, from 2017. I pulled out this quote from this toolkit because for me this is what resonates. Silence on our programs is not an option right now. It's important to have a plan for getting the message through to members of Congress, whether or not your organization has non-federal unrestricted funds to spend on lobbying. There is so much you can do in that advocacy space and that education space and the lobbying space, but in that advocacy and education space, that we want to help you do that in a way that's effective. This year's toolkit from David that I believe just came out yesterday, Winning in the Era of Dysfunction. I'm so psyched for the NCAF conference. I've gone for years, and it's always, I think, a great space to feel a part of a national movement to fight poverty. And Winning in the Era of Dysfunction is a great title and a great theme for this year's event. Now, if you haven't seen this toolkit, let me know, and we can certainly email this to you. But in there, he talks about the work he's going to need you to do on a CSBG Dear Colleague letter, how we can thank members for their support. He has his NCAF 100 list of elected officials, and we'll talk today about our advocacy online social media campaign, and perhaps we can help you interface with that. He's talking about CSBG reauthorization and his concept around an opioids initiative. Next slide. So what can we do? There's a lot that community action agencies, state associations, can really do in this space. Now, state offices, I think, have some different nuances, and certainly public caps. You also have some nuances and challenges, but there's still a lot, I think, that you can do. So we're putting out a 3-point plan over the next 4 to 6 weeks that we hope that you will engage in a way that you feel comfortable. None of this is mandated. None of this has to make you put a square peg in a square hole. There's a lot of things here that you can have some flexibility with. We have a community action agency, state association, and state office sign-on support piece for CSBG. We have a board resolution to engage with your board members in the dialogue and engage board members in this work. Your tripartite board has a lot to add, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. The third piece are social media virtual advocacy days. Now, in March, many of you are coming to D.C. We're going to have hands-on real advocacy days where you're going to go to the Hill, you're going to knock on doors, you're going to talk about CSBG, weatherization, LIHEAP, you're going to talk about community action. And I hope you're doing that in the local districts when they're home, going in, meeting with them, inviting them to your agency. But in March, we want to have some social media advocacy, virtual advocacy days, so everyone across the country and everyone who can't travel, whether it's to the State House or to D.C., can truly participate. Next slide. The first piece is our CSBG Community Action Statement of Support. This 2-page, well, 1.5-page document is focused just on CSBG. We went around on, this has been in development a while, it was kind of put on the shelf, it's been moved around. We initially talked about including LIHEAP and weatherization, but not all agencies have weatherization and LIHEAP. But all CAP agencies, public and private, all state associations, state offices, all engage with us in CSBG. So this is just a basic clarity statement. It uses talking points from NCAF's 2017 toolkit. We ran this by the team at NCAF. They gave us a few tweaks. We modernized it for 2018 for fiscal year 19, if that could be any more confusing. And it's pretty straightforward. And the last statement, we, the co-signing organizations below, support community action and call for funding the Community Services Block Grant at $715 million, 750, for 2019. That is David's request for CSBG funding for fiscal year 2019, $750 million. The list of co-signing organizations currently has NCAF and the partnership. And before we came on the webinar, I looked, and we have 70 organizations that have signed on to this statement. Now, there are 1,000 community action agencies. This statement is something that nonprofit and public CAPs can all sign on to. All state associations can sign on to. All of you can sign on to. I hope that you will take a read through it and click through. We have the link up there, but we also have it in the e-news that we send out. If you don't have it, email me. We are collecting the signatures electronically through SurveyMonkey. You could also theoretically sign this as the executive director, sign this, scan it, and email it to me. That would be cool too. We can certainly make that work. But you can easily do it also up in SurveyMonkey for us. It's not a complex document, and again, this is kind of our first shot out of the gate. We may in the future do something a bit more strategic or narrow, but right now it's broad CSBG. Now I will add some bit of clarity. So when David talked about his Dear Colleague letter in his toolkit, he's talking about a Dear Colleague letter that congressional representatives will sign on to. And that's going to be an ask that comes directly from NCAF to ask you to ask your members of Congress to sign on to that. Today's ask is for your agencies to sign on to the statement of support. So I hope you do that. And I'm going to pause to see if there are any questions that have come through the chat window before we move into the next phase. All right, looks like we're good, right? Let's go to the next slide. The next piece is a board resolution. Now this is a little bit longer document. We gave this to you in Word, and we'd be happy to give it to you in Word via email if you didn't get it through the e-news. The idea here is that you put your logo on this. Maybe you put your mission statement on it. You fill it out. You could even modify probably some of the clauses if you so chose to do so. And this would go to your board for discussion, and you would ask your board to pass a motion, to pass a resolution to support this document. What I also like about this document is that we've also given you a couple of extra clauses, one for LIHEAP and one for weatherization. Now, if you also wanted to throw in Head Start or another program into this, you certainly could. The other piece here, we've given you the examples of how board members would sign their names to this board resolution. Now, you have a couple of options. You could just say the board passed the resolution, the board chair signs it, and you send it back to me. The second piece is you could have each of your individual board members' names and representations be listed on this document. So your boards are tripartite, right? So you got elected officials, you have private citizens across your community, and you have people who are representing through a democratic selection process the low-income community. These names, and if you're able to include perhaps contact information, always helpful, but having their names attached to this would also be helpful. So that would probably take some board discussion. It would need some time on your board agenda. And what it hopefully would also do is elevate the visibility of CSBG with your board members and your role as an advocate on macro level change. I know as a network we're doing so much day to day. How do we get engaged in that macro policy level discussion? I hope this is a way to do it. And our agencies represent every corner of America, as you know. And we have Democrat, Republican, Tea Party, and Progressive sitting on these boards of directors all over the country. So a wide swath of organizations and political persuasions will hopefully support CSBG. That's how it has survived for so many years, is that both sides of the aisle are supportive of federal dollars with local control. So we hope that this is a tool that you'll bring to your board, you'll have some conversation about, and I know this will take a bit more time to get back to us. Currently we have 3. I'll take the 3, but we hope that over the next 6 weeks we can see a bump in the numbers of these that we receive back. And again, fill this out, download it, put it on your own letterhead, whatever you need to do, and if you want to email that back, we have an email address set up to collect them, csbg@communityactionpartnership.com. You can also email me if you'd like. But we've set that up to try to be a repository for the board resolution. Questions that have come in. 6th paragraph should include the 2019 proposed budget. That's a good catch, and we've caught a couple of them. We were moving pretty quick. So, yes, it is fiscal year 2019 is what we're trying to influence, if you were, on terms of CSBG weatherization on LIHEAP, even though it is 2018. So this was, again, drafted last year. So, yes, if I had missed it, it is fiscal year 2019. So thank you for that. All right, any other questions that come in the door? All right. Go to the next slide, and we can certainly circle back. Now, we did put a note in the e-news, and I just want to be upfront here, can we actually do this? Now, the first statement is pretty benign, right? This is an easy, agency signs on, the ED could probably just sign on to this as a corporation. That's certainly how we would handle it as a partnership. The board resolution piece, right, really does have a call to action. I would argue that you still can do it. If you're a nonprofit cap, right, you can't spend a substantial amount of your resources on any sort of lobbying activities, and you certainly can't spend federal or government resources on lobbying. But we've done the hard work here for you. I hope that if your ED spends maybe a half an hour putting this on letterhead or someone in your office, you might report that you have 30 minutes put into an admin column or a lobbying column or something like that, or kept separate from your federal funding streams. because this is really not a lot of work in terms of translating this document. But yes, this is technically a call to action, and we would hope that you will embrace that and move forward with that dialogue at your local agency level. You can contact us. You can also talk to CAPLA about that as well. All of us want you to be successful, and we want you to sign on to these things, and we both organizations believe you can. So let's see. A question has come in. Deadline for the resolution, obviously as soon as possible, but we're meeting in late March, and that is certainly fine. We're going to try to take the temperature probably at the end of March to get a sense of where we're at. I think this will be an ongoing process. And I think as David has said, the President's budget is up to Congress to be the appropriator. So Congress, and we're still dealing with 2018 budget at the moment. So this document will build over time. I'm hoping that we can get a big push. So if your board meeting is at the end of March, that's fine, and we'll certainly still accept the board resolution. So thank you for that question. Any other questions? Other deadlines. There really aren't, as I said, even for this document, there's not a deadline per se. I think it would be great to go into the NCAF conference with some good solid numbers. So that NCAF conference, I believe, starts March 20th for the pre-con on March 21 for the conference start, and I know the day on the Hill is Thursday the 22nd. Sorry. So it would be nice to have some larger numbers then. And we all know that if we don't do it right away, we forget about it. So there are no solid deadlines at the moment, but by the end of March, I think it would be great, or early April, we'll take a temperature. Any other? I have signed on to the CSBG letter. Is there a way to confirm? That's a great idea that we perhaps need to confirm with everybody who has submitted their email. We could possibly do that. What is today? Tuesday? We'll try to do that by COB tomorrow. So if you don't get something from me and you've already signed on, let me know, and we would be happy to double check. So, great, thank you. All right. At our board meeting last night, we had 18 of 22 board members present. We had the resolution for board members to sign. 17 signed, 1 abstained. Should we submit it with his spot unsigned? I would. Yep, I just leave his spot blank. I think board members have every right to abstain from a board vote, and that's an interesting way to do it, right? You pass it around, people signed if they wanted to sign on, others didn't, it's still passed, right? So the agency's board has signed on, but if that individual didn't want their name added, I think you're fine. And you can go ahead and submit it. So great, thank you for your question. Thank you for bringing it to your board. All right, let's go to the next slide. The third piece of our plan is our social media virtual advocacy days. And we've talked around various hashtags and all that sort of thing, and we've landed on hashtag AWiseInvestment and hashtag CSBG. There's certainly pressure, and if you saw whether the last couple of budget cycles, right, what is the criticism or what is the justification language being used to say that CSBG needs to be cut? We want to counter that language. We believe that CSBG is a wise investment. We believe that it does matter, that CSBG works. And when just a premonition of our May Community Action Month toolkit, we're going to be using CSBG works. So you could also use that here if you'd like. But for this campaign, we really want to focus on a wise investment. We think it is a long-term investment, that communities are stronger when they have a healthy community action agency. We think that we can use these virtual days. We're going to have 2 of them, March 7th and March 28th. We want you to share success stories. You have them, I know you do. I see them every day on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. I don't do Instagram, but I'm on Facebook and Twitter every day, and I see success stories come across my feeds every day. You can thank elected officials, especially we have one before the NCAF conference and one after the NCAF conference. So after, if you look at the one on March 28th, if you go to the NCAF conference, imagine a picture with you with your elected official. I know I was with the Kentucky crew a couple years ago, and there's a picture that we have with Hal Rogers. And we're standing there, and the team, and it's community action. Talk about thank you at Senator such and such. Thank you at Congressional Rep such and such. Thank you for supporting CSBG. It is a wise investment. You can use social media, and if we can be unified on 1 or 2 days, what can we do? I'm not sure we can get trending nationally, but what can we do to really elevate that visibility? Next slide. So we have a little mini toolkit for you. It's up on our website as well, and I'll tell you in a minute about how you can access all of this stuff. So we have a little mini toolkit. And in that, you'll get copies of these memes, I think are what they're called, or memes, or whatever we were, memes, inside joke here, but you can copy, paste them, build your own. But these are just some examples. What we've heard in years past from Community Action Month is that people really like to have something plug and play, copy, paste. So you snip these with your little snipping tool or some other save as document tool, and you throw them into your Facebook or your Twitter feed. You can do a lot with these pictures, and graphics grab people's attention. So we gave you a few examples that you could potentially use. And in the toolkit, you'll see some sample tweets. We got a page and a half of tweets, posts, links to videos that already exist in the network that kind of show the good stuff that's going on in the network. But many of you have your own videos, and nowadays you take your little phone, you stand up in front of it, and you can talk and you can post your own video relatively easily. So we hope that on these 2 days, again, March 7th and March 28th, you'll take advantage, and we'll be sending out reminders, and that you share, you post, you tweet, and you really kind of get involved and have some fun with these 2 online advocacy days. What we have heard is that there's a lot of pressure on non-defense discretionary. And David has even said this in his toolkit and on his webinars. There's a lot of folks in Washington who want all these dollars to be funneled into very specific programs. And we need to make sure our voice is heard. We need to make sure CSBG hits that radar screen. So that's what we're trying to do, is amplify the message. Here are a couple of Facebook and Twitter posts that we've already kind of seen out there. I included is that from the one in the lower left-hand corner from Mohawk Valley Community Action. They had a press conference, and they posted a video from that press conference on their Twitter feed. We have Wayne Metro up there in Detroit, who had a visit from some of their congressional or elected officials, thanking them up online. We have ICA in Illinois, or in Iowa, excuse me, Lana, out in Iowa, already using a WISE investment, getting that word out there. MassCap, getting the stuff out there about banking and CSBG. Just some examples of what's going on out in the world. And it doesn't have to be complex. Stuff you're already doing. How do you capture it, post it up? And if we can focus on these 2 days, we can really hopefully capture some wind behind our back on this stuff. Next slide. So, steps for you to engage. On our website, communityactionpartnership.com, and I should have grabbed a screenshot of it, but the if you scroll down on the left-hand side, you'll see a Community Action Statement of Support button. It's under our latest news. If you click there, you'll have a copy of the board resolution, a board of the toolkit, a copy of the Statement of Support, and links on where you can sign up. You can email me. We can certainly email you these documents directly. You can look for our old e-news, and we'll be including them in a future e-news, as well for you to download. Grab the toolkit, develop, snag the memes if you want them, create your own, send us your best ones. We'd love to see what you come up with. And on March 7th and 8th, advocate with us. So let's go to the next slide. So, steps to take. First, the easy lift is the CSBG Statement of Support. You can sign right online. You don't even have to print off anything or email me. You can just go right online, link to it, and sign on for your agency. Second step would be to download the board resolution, bring it to your next board meeting, sign it, scan it, email it to csbg@communityactionpartnership.com, or email me. Get ready for the NCAF conference. Get your House member visits lined up. Talk to your state association about your senatorial visits. Oftentimes they coordinate that Senate visit, or somebody's been identified to snag that Senate visit, because you want to have everybody kind of there together. Invite your congressional members to your agencies. David can't say that enough, I know, in his various toolkits and when he's on the webinars. Invite those congressional reps to your agency. Give them a tour. Let them see your agency in action. And we know many of you are the first call for those congressional needs when constituents call with concerns. Those elected officials need somebody to pick up the phone and call, and we know that's you. So invite them to your agency. Take a look at David's Winning in the Era of Dysfunction. If you don't have this, email me, and I'm happy to email it to you. There's a lot of calls here, too, for action. to get ready. So when David's ready to pull the trigger, he's going to need you to move quick. And what we'll work on doing is finding the Twitter feeds for these top 100 and have those ready for you too. So when you're ready on March 7th and March 28th to engage in online social advocacy or advocacy via social media, you can add them to your tweets. So let's see if there's another, do I have another slide to go? Let's see. All right. Any other questions come in the door as I was rambling on and on? Okay, not there yet, so looks like we're in good shape. Our website is communityactionpartnership.com, again, lower left-hand corner. That was quick. It's not very complex. Reach out to your state associations. Let them know if you have any questions as well. Hopefully they can be helpful and help coordinate some of this work as well. 4 national upcoming conferences, NCAF in March. It really is a great event. I hope that you'll come. I hope that you'll be there when the elected officials are there so they can see the support of the network for CSBG. CAP Law in Albuquerque, great event. End of June 20 through 22. Right now is the NCAF conference here in DC. And then in August in Denver is the Partnerships Conference at the end of the month. Now May is Community Action Month, so we will be releasing that toolkit probably in the next 2 weeks, so agencies can get primed up with resolutions from elected officials, get your stuff ready to go for May, a little earlier this year than we did have in the last couple of years. We're very excited by that. So, are there any other questions? A very quiet group today. Some very good questions have come in. The last slide has my email address, so feel free to email me. Board resolutions, though, would be great if you go to csbg@communityactionpartnership.com. All right. So we will be sending out reminders. We'll be working with state associations to get additional information out the door. I hope that you sign on to these documents. I hope that you encourage your colleagues to sign on to these documents. It's a relatively, I mean, we don't have any solid firm deadlines. We may need to create some, though, as we go through March. We'll let you know if we end up setting any firm deadlines to kind of close the campaign. But if anything, it probably wouldn't be until early mid-April, so end of March would certainly be plenty of time. All right. With that, I don't see any other questions that have come in the door. Email me if you have any. Otherwise, thank you again for all that you do. I hope this provides you some easy ways to get involved with CSBG advocacy, and I hope that we can have a good chunk of the network participate and be engaged in this very important work. So thanks, everybody, and we will see you soon. Take care.